Hello and welcome to my gameplay in the shelter. And it has been, I don't even know if I ever made a gameplay video in the shelter because it's really dark in there and I always thought that my GoPro wouldn't manage the darkness. But I tried it anyway, but with some editing on the video, I was managed to get a lot of video out of the darkness. Did I mention already how dark it is? And with the red light going on in that dark room, it's really difficult to see the difference between the people. So at the beginning of the evening, it's always difficult to see the difference, but the more the evening develops, the more you can see the outlines of people and recognize them on those outlines. But here, yes, I made a boo-boo. And in this video, I'm gonna explain you the gameplay. Yes, of course, I'm gonna tell you what I'm doing, but I'm also gonna explain what the shelter is and how the setup is, because it's a really big field. And we had a chance to only play with, I think it was 10 people on this big area, and it was a pistol only, and all those things combined made it an amazing vibe. You had to search for the people, and you had to bring the fight to the people. So the first game type that we're playing is simple team deathmatch. Find the other player and destroy him. Well, try to find him and try to destroy him. And with a smaller group like this, it's really important to know where your friendlies are. And if you can work together to take one of the enemies out, that's even better. And in this next part, we're working together to take one enemy out. And because I knew that my friendly was there and that he was pushing up, I was able to keep pushing up and he was in the flank and take out that enemy. Some good teamwork. I love that. The desk room is one of my favorite rooms in the shelter. There is no way you can be safe and people can just crawl up behind you. And this is what happened because there were so many angles that you need to cover that you can't cover them all. So keep moving is the message in this room. Sometimes it's a little bit of work to find that angle to be able to eliminate your enemy, but in the end you have to keep pushing, and if you're moving up, suppress the enemy and move up to the cover. The only downside was there was only one cover in that room and the enemy was behind it, so I was a bit close. And don't you just love those pistol fights where it's a really close call who is going to be the winner of it? This time it was me, but I lost plenty of them. Because the shelter is that big, you can easily rotate through other rooms, and if people are in that other room, you can even rotate that room to get around those people. So that's really nice in the shelter, that you can keep going around the people to find a good angle to shoot them. And yet another cool pistol fight. Let's see who wins this one. And yes, we use the bang rule if it's 100% clear that you will hit your enemy. In Airsoft, I try to avoid headshots as much as possible because it doesn't really matter where you hit the person, he's gonna be hit in any part of his body. So if I accidentally hit somebody on the head, I always check if he's okay, especially if it's a really close distance. From this point, I have no idea what happened, but suddenly the magazines stopped feeding the BBs, and you will always notice that it happens on the worst time ever. Like, I was coming in behind them and my mags just stopped feeding. So I took my hit and I went to respawn to check the mags. And maybe it's time to go over the layout of the shelter now. Like, we just entered the market, and that's one of the darkest rooms in the shelter. There is a lot of marketplaces that are filled with all kinds of stuff, where you can easily maneuver in the dark as silent as possible to get around your enemy. The market is located here on the map between the village and the twins. Next up, we enter the village. That is one of the nicest areas to play on, in my opinion. You got several houses with different teams in the houses. You got a Thai massage, you got a brothel, and you also got a church with church benches and an altar to make the village complete. In this area, the distances can be a bit further than what you're used to in a CQB game. And the village is located here on the map. And the village can give access to a lot of different rooms. That Spitfire tracer is awesome, but scary up close. And game. Time for a snack, time to drink something and get ready for the next game. And for the next game we assemble in Skinny's fort, and that is located here on the map. The next game mode is a fun one. It's called Zombie or Infected, or it has some different names. But it starts with one person that is infected. If he shoots another person, he also gets infected, and then he starts joining your team, and the other ones need to be clear of being infected. Now, I start off as being the infected, and I always take my role very seriously. And that will mean that I will get shot a lot because I do infected stuff, and I will just run screaming head first without thinking into a room to scare them.
Hit.
But when you get that person that is not ready to shoot you when you come storming at him, love it. And this one was not ready, so he joins my infected crew as the first one.
Hit. 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 Hit.
But I kept having problems with the magazine that were not feeding the BBs, so I had to be very careful that my first shot hit because that one fed. My army of infected was growing, and it was more and more fun to just hunt the other ones down and scare them as much as possible.
Hit. Hit. Nog twee. Denk het. Oh, nee.
And the last game of today was follow the guy in the cowboy hat and be in the location where he tells you to be to have your timer running for your team. And I kept having problems with the magazines, so I was getting a little bit annoyed with it. The room we're in right now is called the Zoo, well, or the Red Room, depending on the organizer. But it's a really cool room with some dinosaurs and some really cool fencing, which makes it really difficult to shoot the person on the other side. The Red Room or the Zoo is located here on the map. We're now moving to one of the corners of the shelter, and it's really a dark alleyway. And because it's dark, it's really difficult to see which team is in the alley, which is located here on the map.
Hit!
Those people were not my team. I didn't feel if he hit me or not, but we looked back at the footage and we can't confirm if he hit me or not, but if you have a discussion, just take the hit, go to the respawn and get back into the game.
Godverdomme eigenlijk. Hier, nog weet je veel chance had. Kom op. Godverdomme! Erben! Erben!
I saw an enemy at the end of the room and I couldn't help myself, but I wanted to get that knife kill.
Erben. Hé! Ah, hé! Oh, sorry, bud. Oh, hit. Mooi. Hit. Verdomme!
And this brings us to the end of my gameplay in the shelter. I really hope you enjoyed the gameplay footage and you learned a little bit about the layout of the shelter. It was fun to make this CQB gameplay video that I usually don't make. If you liked it, please let me know and like the video. And if you want to see more gameplay videos about anything else, just go to the channel. And if you're interested, just subscribe to the channel to give me some support. And with this, I want to wish you an amazing day and I hope I'll see you next week for a new video. Bye!